Arkham Horror, The Card Game, Night of the Zealot, Part 2, The Midnight Masks. Last week, Roland Banks met a woman named Lita Chandler and defeated a ghoul priest that was trying to destroy his home. At the end, Roland Banks wound up destroying his home, burning it down. Now, the story continues. In the wake of the disaster at your home, Lita Chandler, the red-haired woman from your parlor, lays out a tale, even in light of what you have just witnessed, strains the limits of your belief. The creatures in your home, she claims, are called ghouls, cruel beings who plague the crypts, caverns, and tunnels beneath the city of Arkham. These creatures feed on the corpses of humans, and they are served by a dark cult within Arkham, whose members have inexplicably come to worship the ancient master of the ghouls. This cult has been killing innocent people and feeding them to the ghouls, satiating a monstrous hunger. A dark balance was maintained. Until now, recently, Lita continues, one of their lairs, where the corpses were stored, was destroyed. Since then, the ghouls have been more active than usual. I have tracked their movements and tried my best to stop them from running amok throughout the city, but I think there is something worse going on. The cult has been planning something darker and more ominous than anything I have yet observed. Indications are that this plan shall come to fruition tonight, shortly after midnight. Beyond that, I cannot fathom what to expect. Many of the cultists, Lita continues, will seem like everyday people, despite their foul intentions. Whenever the cult meets, its members don masks shaped like the skulls of various animals to protect their identities from one another. These masks are our mark, symbols of death and decay. We must unmask the cultists to expose and derail their plans. We have but a few hours. The more cultists we find before midnight, the better. Okay, so this begins the Midnight Mask, which is the second part of the Night of the Zealot campaign. So let's take a look at the agenda and see what we have. Predator or prey? Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. So there's 6 doom on this. And now we have the act. Uncovering the conspiracy. You have one night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. We can spend 2 clues per investigator as a group and draw the top card of the cultist deck, which is right here. And we have to find as many as unique cultist enemies as we can and add them to the victory display, which will be behind this. Okay. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, we automatically advance. Now, some of them are not in the cultist deck. So this is the cultist deck right here. It's already been shuffled. Everything is set. So the house was burned down. So we start in Rivertown because we burned, Roland Banks burned down his house. And as I told you, if he is insane or he is killed, I have another investigator ready to go to take over for him. And the deck is already set and ready. So here was this is the list we used to roll the dice. I'm not going to be drawing those things. I'm not going to be drawing them. So we're going to draw 5 cards, and we'll see what we got here as we start the Midnight Masks. And we start with Psychosis, Knife, Barricade, Working a Hunch, and Roland's 30th Special. Well, I'll keep Roland's Special, that's for sure. I'll keep that. I'll keep working a hunch. Barricade, I'll get rid of. I'll go ahead and discard that. Psychosis, we can put back in the deck because it's a weakness. We'll keep the knife. So we get to put this back in the deck, and we draw 2 more cards, and we get guts and another knife. So we'll start with these 5 on the deck, and barricade and psychosis get shuffled back into the deck here. All right. Let's see. Maybe we should move this over here since I actually have a little bit more room on this side. And there, right, that, and there. Okay. All right. So we got to try to find 6 cultists before midnight is what we have to do. So we start in Rivertown. The banks of the Miskatonic River are lined with docks, warehouses, and small shops in a district aptly named Rivertown. So we start here, we flip it over, and we're at Arkham Central. There is something unsettling about the water of the Miskatonic River tonight. It ripples and bubbles as though something is moving beneath the surface. And it starts with a clue on there. So we have a clue here, Rivertown. So we got to get 2 clues in order to uncover a cultist and find out where he's at. And we have carte blanches where to put them. We have carte blanches where to put certain enemies and such. All right, so let's see what we're going to do here. So we start first. And it's good to see you, Steeler fan and BBBB. Thank you very much for joining me. So we got guts. We got a knife. We got Roland's 38 special, which we definitely want to put out. So the first action is we're going to put the 38 special out, which costs 3 resources, and that puts 4 ammo. We get 4 ammo on it. We definitely want to use that because we may need it. That's the first action. Let's see. Second action. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play Working a Hunch right now. So what that is, a fast play only during your turn. Discover 1 clue at your location. So what that does, that doesn't cost me an action. So that's 2 resources right there. And we automatically pick up the clue at Rivertown. So I do not have to investigate. I got a knife and guts here. We'll keep these for now. So that was the first. So the first action was unloading the special. But this has fast, so we don't use doesn't use an action. All right, second action, we're going to move somewhere, and I think where do I want to go? I think we'll go south side. So as you can see here, down here, okay, as you can see down here, these symbols indicate where we can move to. So from Rivertown, we can pretty much move almost anywhere. South side is connected with this symbol with this symbol. So we're going to go south side. So we're going to use our second action to move to south side. Middle-class houses with gambrel roofs crowd together between the streets of south side. The neighborhood is known for its cultural and social landmarks, such as South Church, Ma's Boarding House, and the Historical Society. So we go ahead and we'll flip it, and we find Ma's Boarding House. And there is 1 clue there, so we put a clue on there. Ma is famous for its cheap rooms and mystery meat Mondays. A motley variety of characters can be found coming and going at all times of day. So that's where we're at. That was our second action, was to move to south side. So let's see here. We have an action where it says search your deck for an ally asset and add it to your hand and shuffle the deck. Well, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to use that. That's going to be the third action, as we can search for an ally. And that means it allows me to go into my deck and search for the ally I want. And that is going to be Lita, since we have her. So she's automatically added to my hand. And we reshuffle the deck, because I want her as an ally. We may need her. since she is the Zealot that is actually in this campaign for the Midnight Masks. So that was our third action. So we're there at the third actions. That's it for us. Okay. So that's it. So next we go to the enemy phase, and there are no enemies. So we ready all our exhausted cards, which didn't have any. So we get a resource, and we draw a card, and we get Vicious Blow. This is useful. Okay, so now we go to the Mythos phase, and we put a Doom on the track. So 1 goes on the Doom. 6 Doom will advance this agenda. So we got to try to find as many cultists as possible for this one. This is actually, a lot of people say the Midnight Mask is actually one of the better scenarios in the entire Arkham card game line. So let's see. So we are at Southside. So now we have to draw an encounter card, and it is Crypt Chill. Ugh, that's not good. So Crypt Chill. Revelation, we test our willpower. If we fail, we choose and discard 1 asset you control. But if we cannot, we take 2 damage instead. So our willpower, the test is 4, and we only have a test of 3. Well, luckily we have Guts, which I'm going to go ahead and use. So Guts gives us 2 here to make it a 5. And if the test is successful, we draw a card. So we're going to use Guts. So that 3 for willpower now becomes a 5. And we will roll. And that is a 13, and we get a skull. And the skull here says -X. X is the highest number of Doom on a cultist enemy in play. There are no cultists in play, so that's -0, so we succeed. So Crypt Chill is discarded. So Crypt Chill is discarded. And we succeed, and that allows us to draw a card, and we get physical training. So that was actually a good turn for us. All right. So now it is our turn. For those of you who are here watching me, thank you very much. Just enjoy and sit back, a nice little Arkham horror as I branch out my channel a little bit here. I actually love this game. I forgot how much fun this game was to play. So we're at Southside here, and we got a clue there. So the Shroud is a 2. So we got to get that clue. And if we get that clue, we can use an action to find one of these cultists here. Well, action number 1 is we're going to put out Lita Chantler. So Lita Chantler now joins us in the fight. And her cost is 0. So we don't use anything. She has 3 health and 3 sanity on her. So we can use her as almost as like a shield against certain enemies. So that's our first action. Second action, we're going to investigate Southside. So that'll be a second action. It has a Shroud value of 2, and we have an intelligence of 3. And I don't have anything to help me in the cards. So we need to roll a 3. We need to have a 3 or better. And that is a 10, and that is -2. So we had a 3 -2 makes it a 1. So we failed that. So for the third action, we're going to try again. That is a 5. That is a 0. And this time we succeed. So that's a 0 here. So we do a 3 over 2. We do succeed. We get the clue. So now we have 2 clues. That was the third action. So I can't do anything right now on this turn because you have to use an action to get that. So I have to wait till the next turn to utilize that action. So we got the clues there at Southside, which is great. And by the way, I got experience points from the first story, so I did upgrade the deck a little bit. All right, so that is that. So the investigation phase is over. There are no enemies, so we go to the upkeep phase. So we draw a card, and we get first aid, and we get another resource. Now, Lita Chantler helps us with combat. And when an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, that will deal plus damage. So Lita Chantler actually is good to have with us right now on this mission in this mission at Arkham for the Midnight Masks. All right, so we have 5 cards in hand. So now we go to the Mythos phase. So Doom goes on the track, and we draw a card, and it is False Lead. Ugh. If you have no clues, False Lead gains Surge. If you have 1 or more clues, test Intelligence. For each point you fail by, place 1 of your clues on your location. So the intelligence level is a 4, and we have intelligence of 3. Well, and the sad thing is, I don't have any cards to help me with that. So I got these 2 clues. I might just lose them. So I got a 3. So actually, I need a 2, a 3, or there's no cultist. So a 2, 3, 12, 13, or a 20 will help me survive this test. It is a 12. That is a skull, which is minus X. X is the number of doom on a cultist enemy in play. There are none. You don't count the doom here, just on the cultist. So that's minus 0. We actually, that's 0. So we actually still fail, but we only lose 1 clue. So 1 clue goes back on south side. So we still lost a clue. We needed to get it. We really needed a 2 or 3 or the elder sign to do it, because he only has intelligence of 3 there, and I have no cards here at the deck to help me. All right, but still, the good news is there's no enemies, so we got to find that clue again. We only lost by 1, so 1 goes back on the location. So we got to refine that clue again. All right. So the investigation phase is next, and we are going to our first action. We're going to investigate again. So with 2, so our investigation is a 3. That is a 16. We re-roll. 16 and 19. We re-roll. Re-roll again. 9, and that is minus 1. He has a 3. Minus 1 is 2. He gets that clue back. All right, so we get that's our clue back. All right. Our second action, we're going to spend these clues because we got to find the cultists and see where they're at. So we spend the clues, and we draw the first cultist card, and it is Herman Collins, the Undertaker. He spawns in the graveyard. Choose and discard 4 cards from your hand. Parley, add Herman Collins to the victory display. So Herman Collins, the Undertaker in the local graveyard, has been digging strange tunnels underneath the mausoleum. But for what purpose? So he's here. So Herman Collins is at the graveyard. So I got to get there in order to deal with him and add him to the conspiracy. Add him here. So that was our second action. So our third action is we're going to move. In order to get to the graveyard, we have to go back to Rivertown because Southside has a plus here. Southside has a plus, but this does not connect to the graveyard. I have to go back to Rivertown. So our third action, we move back to Rivertown, and that's our third action as we're now heading to the graveyard. So we did discover 1 cultist. Now we got to try to find out what's up with that. So, because right now, I mean, we got to see what's going on here. I mean, I had ghouls in my house. I'd like to know what happened. All right, so there's no enemies, so we go straight to the upkeep phase. So we get a resource, and we draw a card, and it is medical texts. All right. So now we go on to the Mythos phase. So we place a doom on the agenda. So now the agenda has 3 doom on it. And we draw a card. And it is Mysterious Chanting. Revelation. Place 2 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. If there are no cultist enemies in play, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a cultist enemy and draw it. Shuffle the encounter deck. Well, there are none in the discard pile, so we search for 1. I mean, by search means we can choose any one we want. And we're just going to go ahead and choose. We're going to choose an acolyte is what we're going to do. It was only a small sacrifice. Acolyte. It can spawn any empty location. And after Acolyte enters play, you place a doom on it. So, and then we reshuffle the encounter deck. Welcome, Bob's Tabletop Sports, to a little Arkham horror. So the Acolyte will spawn that, and where are we going to spawn him? The Acolyte can pretty much spawn on any empty location, and we'll spawn him at East Town, so we can probably deal with him later. So he'll spawn at East Town, and we choose where to put him. And he gets a doom on him, which the thing about the doom, it adds to the agenda. So right now you have 3, but you've now got 4 dooms. So we got to deal with him as soon as possible. So the good news is I'm not under attack, but we got to go ahead and deal with these guys. So now we have an Acolyte we got to deal with. But first off, we got to take care of the cultists. So Herman Collins is first. So let's go ahead, and it's now our turn. So our first action is we're going to move to the graveyard. The graveyard lies at the foot of French Hill. Some of the headstones date back to the 17th century when the earliest colonists came to Arkham. Considering what happened in your house, you're not completely keen on heading there. So now we go and we flip it, and we got the graveyard. Forced. After you enter the graveyard, test willpower 3. Test willpower 3. If you fail, you must either take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. So there is a clue on here. So we know there's a clue. There's 2 clues on this. So there are 2 clues at the graveyard. The Shroud of the Graveyard is only a 1, so it's pretty easy to get it. But I have to pass willpower, or not. I have to go back or take 2 horror or go back to Rivertown. And he has already 1 horror on him. Okay, but of course I could put it on Lita Chandler because she can help me out with this. All right. So the willpower test is a 3, and his willpower is a 3. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to utilize first aid, which will give me which adds willpower, which will willpower to 4. And I think that's it for that. So we're going to go 4. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and use the physical training card, which has another willpower, and make it a 5. We need to stay here because I got to get him. We need to stay here. So we have a 5/3 willpower. And that is a 15, and that is a tablet. The tablet is -3. If you fail, place 1 of your clues on your location. Well, we had a 5. -3 is 2. So we failed because we had a 3. So I lost a clue, but I don't have any clues on there. But now I have to either take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. And move back to Rivertown. Now, this was my first action. So, because we moved to the graveyard with the first action. So if I move back to Rivertown, that doesn't cost an action. But if I want to go back to the graveyard, it's going to be another action, and I have to pass this again. I may be dumb, but I'm going to take the 2 horror. So I'm already up to. I'm going to actually put the horror. Actually, put 1 horror on Lita Chandler, and 1 on me. So we're going to take the 2 horror, which allows me to stay in the graveyard. Now we got Herman Collins, and he is considered an enemy, so we are engaged with him. And we're going to go ahead and try to deal with Herman Collins. Now, there is an action here. Choose and discard 4 cards from your hand, which is a parlay, and we add Herman Collins to the victory display. Well, I have 4 cards. Medical Text, Vicious Blow, Knife, and Knife. I have 4 cards. If I discard these, I don't have to fight him. I automatically talk to him, interrogate him, and he's out of there. Or I can fight. If I fight, I have to do 4 points of damage on him. The question is, I have I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fight him instead. I'm going to fight him. So this is the second action we're going to fight. We are engaged with him. So let's see what we're going to do here. So we fight with Herman Collins, and he has a attack of 3. Roland Banks has a physical of 4. Okay. Lita Chandler helps us out. She gives us a +1 here. Lita Chandler here gives us a +1 here, which is a +1, which is a 5. So we're already at a 5. And we're going to go ahead and use the Roland, one of the 38 special. Okay. So we get +1 for this attack. And if there are 1 or more clues on your location, you get +3 attack instead. So actually, this is going to be the only way really I could fail with this is on a 1. So he has 4, +1 is 5, and it's going to be +3 is 8 because there are clues at this location at the graveyard. So it's an 8/3. We roll a 4, and that is a 0. So we go ahead, we hit him. So we got him. So we do 1 damage from Roland Banks, and this attack deals +1 damage. So that's 2 on Herman Collins already. The third action, we're going to do it again. Spend another resource, the 38 special. Same thing. So again, here with Herman Collins, try to find out what's up with him. So again, it is 4, +1 is 5. He's not a monster enemy, so it doesn't count. So +1 is 5. And again, if there are 1 or more clues, you get +3, which is 8. We roll a 7. That is a -1 is 6. And we got him. So that does 2 damage, 1 from Roland Banks, and 1 from the 30, and 1 extra from the 38 special, which is 4 is his health. Herman Collins is eliminated. So we take him, and he goes under here as we've taken care of him. And after you defeat an enemy, you discover a clue at your location, so we actually gain a clue. So not bad there for Roland Banks. Not too bad there. That's pretty good. And that was our action. So we did good there. So we've already we've already taken care of 1 cultist. So now we move on to the enemy phase. The Acolyte stays put. He doesn't go anywhere. He stays at East Town. So we don't have to worry about him. So he stays put there. So no enemies with the hunter keyword or no engaged enemies. So we did well. So now we go ahead and upkeep. So we will get a resource and draw a card. And we got Psychosis. Add Psychosis to your threat area. Forced. After you take 1 or more horror, take 1 direct damage. It will cost me 2 actions to discard Psychosis. So we got to deal with that now. Isn't that just lovely? Yeah, just wonderful. Just wonderful. Okay. So let's see what we got next. So I gotta get rid of it. But the good news is, again, there's no enemies. So, all right. So it is our turn. Actually, no. Now, what am I doing here first? So that's Psychosis. This adds to the threat area. So we have that. All right, and we got it. So now we go to the Mythos phase. So 1 threat goes on the scheme. So there's 4 here now, plus the 1 is 5. Okay, so 1 more will advance this agenda. And we draw an encounter card, and it is a locked door. Attach to the location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. The attached location cannot be investigated. Test 4 strength to break down the door or 4 agility to pick the locks. If you succeed, discard locked door. So attach the location with the most clues and without a locked door on it. Well, right now the graveyard gets the locked door. So now I got to deal with that before I can get the last clue. This game is very, very treacherous. It's very, very treacherous to play. All right, so we're still stuck at the graveyard, but now I got to deal with a locked door, which is wonderful. So we got to get that next clue, but I also got to deal with this acolyte over here. So I'm going to try. We're going to go ahead and try to knock this locked door down. His agility is a 2. His combat value is a 4. So we're going to try to break the door down. So we're going to add, he's got, let's see. So he has 4 plus 1 from Leader Chandler is a 5. I'm not going to use the 38 special for it, but I will use 1 knife card, which will make 6. So we need a 6. So a 6 over 4. And that is an 18. Reroll. 16. Reroll. 3. And that's a plus 1. We succeed. We get rid of the locked door. So the locked door is gone. So that was the first action, was knocking down the door. Second action, we now got to try to get this last clue from the graveyard. So let's see what we're going to do here. So we got 2 clues. So we got 1 clue. So if Shroud is a 1, his investigation is a 3. It's already 3 over 1. So that's usually pretty good. So this is our second thing here as we're trying to get the clue from the graveyard. That is a 20. That's an elder sign. So that is plus 1 for each clue on your location. We succeed. We get the clue. So that was our second action. And we get a graveyard, a victory point here. And I'm going to keep track of that some way. So I'll go ahead and use this die to help me with victory points, as I know I get a victory to add to spend money and make the cards better. Double D joins me here. Thank you there for Saturday Night Horror. Welcome, sir. So that was the second action. The third action, we're going to move to East Town and see if we can deal with this acolyte. Although the agenda is going to move on the next turn anyway. So we're going to go ahead. Or actually, no, you know what? No. We're going to go ahead on the third action. We're going to spend the 2 clues that we got, and we're going to pull our next cultist. The thing about it is these guys are a pain in the butt, but our job is to get as many cultists as possible. And we have Victoria Devereaux, the collector. She spawns at Northside. Spend 5 resources, parley, add Victoria Devereaux to the victory display. Oliver Thomas, the proprietor of the Curiosity Shop, has informed you that a new client has taken a keen interest in a mysterious mask. So Victoria Devereaux is in Northside, so she is over here. So we need to go over there now. We need to go over there. So we got to go to Northside in order to take her out and see what we got to do. All right. So that's our third action. So enemy phase, we're not engaged with anybody, and the acolyte stays put. He's just chanting away. So we're going to go ahead and get a resource. And unfortunately, we're about to become engaged with an enemy here, since I do know how the scenario is played. But it always is a little different. It's always different every time you play it, though. So we now go to so we go ahead, we get a resource, we draw a card, and we get dodge, which is good to have. Okay, so Mythos phase. Place a doom on the agenda, 5, but now there's 1 which is 6. So this agenda does advance. So we advance the agenda, and coming up on the agenda is a monster, as a matter of fact. As now the Masked Hunter just showed up. He's engaged with me, prey with the most clues. The Masked Hunter gets +2 health per investigator. While you're engaged with the Masked Hunter, you cannot discover or spend clues. So this Masked Hunter just showed up here at the graveyard. So I got to deal with him really before I can go ahead and take care of them. So isn't that just lovely? So now I got to deal with this guy. And he has 6 health. He has 4 here, but +2 health per investigator. So he actually has 6 health. Ugh. And I still have to draw an encounter card, which we have not done yet. So we draw an encounter card. And I still have the psychosis problem here too. So we draw an encounter card, and it is a hunting shadow. Revelation peril. Revelation. You must either choose one, spend one clue, or take 2 damage. A shadowy figure follows you in the rain. When you look at it, your head pounds in agony and your vision blurs. So I got to either spend 1 clue or take 2 damage. Well, I don't have any clues, so I got to take 2 damage. I'm going to put 1 on Roland and 1 on Lita, which I can do. All right. So I got to deal with the Masked Hunter, and since we didn't take any horror, this doesn't do me anything. I got to take care of that, but I got to deal with the Masked Hunter first. So it's our turn. We got to take care of this guy. Luckily, we have Lita Chandler to help us out. So let's see how we're going to do this. So the first action is we're going to fight. And Roland Banks has a 4. He gets +1 from Lita Chandler. And we're going to go ahead. I'm going to spend a resource to use this knife. Actually, no, it doesn't work that way. I have to discard it first for it. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, never mind. So let's keep the resource. So we have 4 +1 from Lita is 5. We'll use the 38 special, which will make it +3, which will make it +6. There are no clues in the location, so it's a 6 this time. So a 6/4 on the Masked Hunter. That is a 7, and that is -1. So that is going to be a success. That's 5/4. So we get get 2 damage from the 38 special. So we get +1 damage. So it's total of 2 damage on him. So he has 2 on him right now. Second attack, the same thing. This is a special. So again, it's 4. +1 is 5. +1 is 6. That is a 7, a -1. Again, we do damage to him. So he has 4 on him. And the third action, we're out of ammo on the special, but we do have abilities to do it here. So we have 4, 5, and we're going to utilize. We're going to utilize the Vicious Blow skill. If the skill test is successful during an attack, that attack deals +1 damage. So we'll get 6. So this will give us the extra +1 damage we need. With a sickening smack, he struck the abomination over and over until at last it stopped moving. So again, it's a 6/4. And that is a 10. And that is -2. That will do it. So 6/4 -2 is 4/4. That does 2 damage to him, and we killed the Masked Hunter. And the good news is it is one of the cultists. So we not only kill it, we get 2 victory points. So now we have 3. And the Masked Hunter goes into the conspiracy deck. So we now have that. So we got 2 cultists now we've captured or defeated. So we did pretty good on that one, but we had to kill that. Absolutely had to kill it. All right. So now we go to the enemy phase. There are no enemies at the moment. So we go to the upkeep. So we get a research librarian card, and we get a resource. And we're holding 4 cards right now. We can hold no more than 8. And that is all. Okay. So now we go to the Mythos phase. So 1 Doom goes on the agenda. One doom goes on the agenda. And we get an encounter. There is nothing. We have 8 doom here. The minutes pass quickly as your investigation continues. We can always resign, which means as soon as we get as many as we possibly can, we can resign and, end the story that way. But I think we can still get another 1 or 2 more of these cultists. So now we draw an encounter card and we get a hunting shadow. Again, you must either choose 1, spend 1 clue, or take 2 damage. A shadowy figure follows you in the rain. When you look at it, your head pounds in agony and your vision blurs. Well, I'm going to take 2 damage because I don't have any clues. So 1 damage will go on him and 1 will go on her. She has 3 damage or 3 horror. All right. So we're getting a lot of stuff here. So we're going to go ahead. We got to get to North Side. We have to get to North. What does getting Ultra Cultists do for you? That we won't know until we get to the. We won't know that until we get to the third part of the story. I can't tell you that because I don't know. We will find out. So, although I have played this before, okay, I usually do a quick run through by myself before I stream it, so I do know a little bit what's going to happen. And so you guys will not. So, but then again, since the game is always different every time you do it, you never know how the game is going to go. I could play this game a whole bunch of times. So far, I'm actually doing pretty well. I'm not getting many enemies, but this game can be played many different times. All right, so it's our turn. So we gotta move to North Side. North Side is over here, and in order to get to North Side, I'm in the graveyard. So I'd have to go 1, 2. Is what I have to do. But I still got to deal with this card because if I get any horror, I take that. If I take a horror, I take a direct damage. But we gotta deal with her. I think we can do this. So, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. First action, we move from the graveyard to Rivertown. So that's the first action. Second action, we move from Rivertown to North Side. North Side is a commercial district that contains many offices and factories, as well as the train station. Now we oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. North Side. North Side. Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I can get there because I know from here I can move here. North Side is not connected from Rivertown. It's connected from Miskatonic University. So I can't go straight from Rivertown to North Side. I have to go 1, 2, 3. So I have to move through 2 areas from the graveyard. Oh, let's see what we want to do here. All right, we're going to move 1, and we're going to go downtown instead. The downtown area of Arkham is filled with government buildings, including City Hall. The First Bank of Arkham Independence Square and Arkham Asylum can also be found in this area. It is the busiest district in the city. All right, so we're already here at downtown, so now we flip it. Downtown, the First Bank of Arkham. We'll call this a loan, all right? There is 1 clue on downtown. There is a clue on downtown. So we moved 1, 2. So we have a third action. And the question is, do I want to deal with that clue or do I want to move to North Side and deal with her? Now, the thing about it is, if I move there, she's going to get to attack on her turn because I will be engaged with her. So I am not going to move into North Side. I'm going to go ahead and investigate this clue. I'm going to investigate this clue. The Shroud is a 3, though, and we have a 3. So I'm going to investigate this clue. And let's see what we're going to do here. I think we're going to try to get the clue. So, because if I move in the north side, I'm going to be engaged with her, and she's going to get to attack on the turn. So we got to be careful with that. So there's only one clue there, so we're going to try to get the clue. So the shroud level's a 3. We have a 3. I don't have any cards to help me with it. So 3 over 3. That is a 12, and that is a skull. Minus X is the highest number of doom on a cultist enemy in play. And that is here, so that's -1. And we're not going to get the clue. So that we failed. All right, so that's our actions for that turn. So we're still stuck in downtown, but we still got a clue there. But this is our goal really is to get to her because she's a cultist. So we got to get to her. We've already discovered 2 of them. And we still have a little time left. All right, so we're going to... There's no enemies as she stays right where she's at. She doesn't go anywhere. So we're going to get a resource. We're getting a lot of good resources here. And we're going to draw a card. And we get emergency cash, which we gain 3 resources if we play it. All right. So next up. So now we go to the Mythos phase. So a Doom goes here. Doom goes there. And we got to draw a card. And there we go. Now we have an enemy. A Hunting Night Gaunt. And this is these are nasty. Hunters. While attempting to evade Hunting Night Gaunt, double the negative modifier of each revealed chaos token. They had no faces at all to smile with, but only a suggestive blankness where a face ought to be. H.P. Lovecraft. So we have a Hunting Night Gaunt here I'm engaged with now. So in this case, what we have to do is we have to evade him. Because right now he's engaged with me. I have to evade him. I probably could fight him. He only is a 3, but I need to evade him. If I evade him, I disengage and I can move. So we're going to try to evade him instead. Although my evasion's not that good, but we do have a little help here. To evade. So we got a Hunting Night Gaunt we got to deal with, and he is engaged with us. So actually, we put him here. Because he is engaged with us. And he is a monster. So Leader Chantler actually gives us a help against monster because the investigator do an extra +1 damage to kill it. But we're going to try to evade him instead. His invasion is only a 1, but we got to be careful. We got to make sure we have enough. So we're going to try to evade him. So our evasion is a 2. We're going to utilize... We're going to utilize the Research Librarian card, which will give us an extra evasion. So that will make us a 3. And we're going to use Dodge with this here to make that a 4. So we have a 4 to evade him. So our first action is to evade. We roll a 12, and that is a skull, and that is minus X. X is the highest number of doom on a cultist enemy in play. So it's only a 1. So it's -1. So we had a 3. -1 is 2. We evade him. So by evading him, he is no longer engaged with us, and he is stuck here. So we broke the engagement. So we can move and not be attacked. So that was our first action. Second action, we move from downtown into the north side. North Side is a commercial district that contains many offices and factories, as well as the train station. And we flip North Side. In North Side, nothing gets people talking faster than a bit of dough. So North Side has 2 clues on it. There's 2 clues on it. We can spend 5 resources to gain 2 clues from the token pool. But so we can do that as we are here. Now, that was our second action. Now we have Victoria Devereaux. Now, Victoria Devereaux, okay, we can try to take her down, But spend 5 resources in Parley, and we add Victoria Devereaux to the victory display. I have plenty of resources here, and it makes sense to do this. So instead of attacking her, welcome Dave Little, I'm going to spend the 5 resources for the third action. Spend the 5 resources. And we pretty much what we do is we interrogate her instead of killing her. And we go ahead and remove her, and she is now in our victory display. So now Victoria Devereaux. So that's 3 cultists we've taken care of. That's 3 cultists we've taken care of. Not too bad. Not too bad. And after you defeat an enemy, now I don't know if this counts after you defeat an enemy, discover a clue at your location. She is defeated. We just parlayed her. I don't know if parley is also the same thing as defeating. So real quick, I can check the rules reference real fast, which I have here, and just make sure. I don't know if that is going to be the same thing as defeating. It's not really defeating. I'm not sure if that means defeating, but LCG stands for living card game, Dave Little. Living card game. I'm not sure if that really stands for defeating for Parley, but we did in a way defeat her and put her in there. So I may not be true on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and state that since we did defeat an enemy, which we did, we didn't defeat the Night Gaunt, we evaded it. So we evaded it. So I'm going to say we get a clue because we did defeat an enemy. We just did it by parley. So that was the third action. So we now have 3 cultists taken care of right now. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. So those are our 3 actions. And enemies with the hunter keyword move toward the nearest investigator. Now, this is a hunting Night Gaunt. It does move to me the north side, and now it engages. So the hunting Night Gaunt is now back with me as it moved now to north side. So once again, I have the hunting Night Gaunt with me. It does not get to attack, though, because it just engaged. So I'm now once again engaged with the Night Gaunt. So we reset the actions, and we will draw a card and get a resource. We get another emergency cache, so I got 2 of those, and we get another resource. All right. Okay, so put Doom on the agenda. So Doom right now is 3 plus 1 is 4. And north side, and I want to check something in the rule book for a second here, real quick. The campaign guide real fast. Nope. Okay. We're doing it right. All right. So Doom on track. We now get an encounter card, and it is Obscuring Fog. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. After attached location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. So now we have a fog here at north side. So now the Shroud here went from 3 plus 2 is 5, which is very difficult to beat. But we don't have to worry about that in a way, because if we defeat the hunting Night Gaunt, we get the clue. And that's what we're going to do here. So we're now going to go ahead and try to defeat that hunting Night Gaunt. So let's see what we have to do here, guys. So we've got 3 cultists so far. There's a total of 6. All right, so we're going to go after the hunting. We're going to attack the hunting Night Gaunt. I'm going to attack the hunting night gaunt. So we're going to attack it. So it has a 3. Has a 3 level here. Has a 3. So let's attack. So Roland Banks is going. He has a 4. He gets +1 from Leader Chandler, was a 5. And the 38 special, unfortunately, is out of ammo. But we can also use it to help us attack it, with a 6. But 5 is pretty good. So the hunting night gaunt is a 3. So 4 + 1 is 5. And he is a monster enemy, so she will do an extra +1 damage from Leader Chandler. So it's 5 over 3. We roll a 14, and that is a cultist. Cultist -2. Place 1 doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Well, that's -2. So the 5 -2 is a 3. We do the damage on the night gaunt. So the night gaunt does take 2 damage, but a doom goes on the acolyte over here, because the night gaunt is not a cultist, so it doesn't get that, but the acolyte does. So now there's another doom here. So now we're at 5. So that was the first attack. Second action, we're going to go ahead and do an attack again. We're going to try to take this thing out. And that is a 20. That's an elder sign. So that means, so the elder sign for him is +1 for each clue on your location. So he gets +1. It wins. The elder sign pretty much is an automatic success. So that's 2. So we get 3. It's a monster enemy. +1 is 4. And we killed the night gaunt. So the night gaunt is dead. We got rid of it. And why would I go after the night gaunt? Okay, well, I'm still trying to get cultists, because by killing the night gaunt, all right, okay, after you defeat an enemy, you discover a clue at your location. So we defeated him. We get this clue. So we once again have 2 clues. So we now have 2 clues on the location. Not bad. So we actually got both clues. And since we got those clues, I'm going to give myself another victory point. So I now have 4 victory points for getting all the clues off the locations. That was the second action. Now the third action, I'm going to spend these clues and find out who the next cultist we're going to deal with. And that is Peter Warren. And he spawns at the Miskatonic University. So Peter Warren is at the Miskatonic University here. So he will come here. And give me one moment for a moment, guys. Hold on a second. Okay, so Peter Warren is at the Miskatonic University, so he is going to be a cultist we have to deal with. So there's our 3 actions. And all right, so the enemy phase, there's no enemies. So Peter Warren stays here, and he stays here. So, and we're still at north side, so I got to go ahead and get out of there. But with no enemies around, and no attacks. So we go to the upkeep. So we get ourselves a card, which is manual dexterity. This will help us disengage. And we get a resource. Okay. Let's see what we got. So we still got the obscuring fog, but this if their attached location successfully investigated, discard obscuring fog. Since there's nothing left here, I can discard it because there are no more clues on this location. It was success. It wasn't really investigated, but there's nothing there anymore. I'll tell you what, I won't discard it. I'll put it under. There we go. All right. So what do we do next? Well, Doom goes on the track. Doom goes on the track. So we got 6 now. Can I maybe get one more cultist before it gets to 8? I'm not sure what happens if it gets to 8 for Doom. So let's see what we got here. So north side. So we got a Doom, and we pick a card, and it is On Wings of Darkness. Revelation, test agility 4. If you fail, take 1 damage and 1 horror. Then disengage from each non-Night Gaunt enemy engaged with you and move to a central location. A Night Gaunt swoops down from the sky and grabs you with its clawed hands, carrying you off into the night. Oh boy. So I got a test for agility. If you fail, take 1 damage and 1 horror. So we got a test for agility. He has 2. We're going to use manual dexterity, which gives us 2 here. So it's going to be 4. So that does give me a 4. And that's not great. So let's see what happens. So it's 4 on 4 to pass this test. It is a 3. We did it. We did it. A 3 is a +1. That's a 5. We don't lose anything. We stay right where we're at. So if you fail, take 1 damage and 1 horror, then disengage from each non-Night Gaunt enemy engaged with you and move to a central location. But we didn't fail, so we stay right where we're at. And that's huge, because that would have brought us to Rivertown. But either way, it's good. So we did not fail. So we stay in north side, and it is the investigation phase. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we got to get him. So Miskatonic University is connected to north side, so we can move from Miskatonic University to Miskatonic here. The first thing I'm going to do, though, for the first move, is I'm going to go ahead and use the emergency cache and gain 3 resources. Going to gain 3 resources here. That's the first thing we're going to do. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to spend 5 resources and gain 2 clues in the token pool. So we spend 5 resources. 5 resources. And we gain 2 clues just from doing that. So now he has 2 clues. Now we make our third action and we go, and now for our third action, I'm going to go ahead and for third action, I'm going to go ahead and put out the knife. So spend 1 resource and put out the knife, which will give us +1 for the attack. So we're going to have the knife out. That's the third action. We don't want to go to Miskatonic yet, because if we do, we'll be engaged with him and then he can attack us. So we'll wait. Sometimes it's best to always wait to make a move. But then you're dealing with the mythos, and we'll see what happens. So there's 6 here right now. There's 6 in the mythos. So we're going to wait, and we're going to hope for maybe 1 more to get 1 more cultist, if possible, here before we complete this scenario. If you guys are watching this, I hope you're enjoying it, because I certainly am. All right, so no enemies with the hunter keyword or anything like that, so we're not investigating with anybody. So we go to the upkeep phase. So we draw a card and we get the flashlight. That's useful. Would have been nice if we got that first. And then we get a resource. So we have 2 resources again. All right. Now the Mythos phase. Put a Doom on the agenda. So now there is 7, and 8 is what we can't happen. So we have 7. So this will probably be the last thing we do. So we got to go ahead and get this cultist. So 7, and let's see what the counter card is, and it is another Acolyte. Spawn in any empty location. After Acolyte enters play, place 1 Doom on it. Ugh. Oh boy. That just ended it. That just ended it because it placed a Doom on it, and that's going to make it 8. I was going to go ahead and try to get him over here and get the clues to get him, but this just showed up. Empty location. I'll put it in the graveyard. And he hits a Doom, and now we have 8. And that just ended the agenda. So now we got to see what happens. So I believe that advances the agenda right there. Because now there's 8 on the agenda, so that does advance the agenda. So let's see what happens. The clock strikes midnight. 12 bells ring out across the town. It is midnight. There is no time left to investigate the city. You must act based on the information you've collected from the cultists you found. And that is it. The graveyard groans. And that's it. So 12 bells rang out and we are done. Pretty much the scenario came into that pretty much ends the scenario. So now let's go ahead and see what happened. So now we'll read from the book. And we go to resolution 2. 12 bells ring out, signaling midnight. You're out of time. The cult's ritual will begin shortly. You've managed to obtain some useful information about the cult and its plans. You can only hope it's enough. To be continued next week. Next week will be part 3, the Devourer Below. So we went ahead and got 3 cultists. We got 3 cultists. We're actually not doing too bad. And I was going to try to get the 4th one, but when he came out and put a Doom on him, that automatically took care of that and brought the Doom to the 8, and we are done. So that is it. So we got to run home. I got to collect the data. And next week will be part 3, the Devourer Below, and we'll see what Lita Chantler really had all going on here and see what the real enemy is beyond. So for those of you guys who with me next week for Friday night or maybe Saturday night Arkham Horror, I hope you'll join me then. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong. And we will see you next time. Maybe, maybe not.